welcome to another Today's Decay, where we celebrate births and beginnings of everything important since the dawn of time. Today is May 25th, and here are all the dates that really rate. But why do we do this, you ask? It's because otherwise life just becomes a series of consecutive days with nothing special to mark them, day in, day out. But rather, if we can search back through time and say, hey, this is where somebody was born on this, some innocent little creature was birthed into this world and wound up bringing all sorts of energy and excitement and positivity into a world that desperately needed it. Well, that's the point, ain't it? Yeah. So in this day in 1899, Boris Artebashev was born. Boris Artebashev. I'm going to say it a third time. Boris Artebashev. A painter in Russia in the 20s through 50s, I feel like, and a good deal of his work was human beings turned into machines in some form or another. So I think he definitely was inspired by the futurist movement, but very much created his own visual aesthetic, one that I guess you could say precedes like Geiger type stuff, you know? Very often it's like humans turned into World War II bombers or something like that. This right here is a anthropomorphic face-hand creature that he painted. Although it's not an original, this is a painting by Albert Neutzel that Forrest J. Ackerman commissioned to make recreations of a series of some of his favorite artwork. And here's another one Neutzel did as well of Margaret Brundage Weird Tales cover. But this one here is a Boris Artebashev painting that he reproed. And these were both on display in Forrest Ackerman's Acker Mansion, which was his mansion in the Hollywood Hills that he had an open door policy for. Every Saturday he would give free guided tours of his house that was full of monster memorabilia, classic Hollywood stuff, you name it. He very often billed himself as shake the hand of the hand that shook Bela Lugosi's and Fritz Lang's and Boris Karloff's, and that by shaking his hand you are connecting with her royalty, and that could go back in time because he met people like H.G. Wells. And who did H.G. Wells meet? You go further and further back and you're like, you know, it's almost like, you know, the Kevin Bacon game where you're like connected to like one of the ancient pharaohs of Egypt or something like that. Or so I'd like to think, you know? There's a Kong filled with peanut butter over there that somebody's really enjoying. Right, so meanwhile, this whole 6.66 degrees from Forrest J. Ackerman. This is the actual painting that was on display in Forrest Ackerman's house. He would give tours to anybody that would come knock on his door, whether it's a really excited 10-year-old that was reading Famous Monsters magazine. Famous Monsters was Forrest's magazine that brought Halloween to the newsstands all across the world every month from about 1957 till the early 80s, and in the process inspired this whole second half of the 20th century to experiment with their imagination and travel to far-off universes and dream up untold monsters, such as the reach of Famous Monsters magazine. So, right, this was on display along with all sorts of original posters and props and you name it. So he would give tours to, you know, all sorts. And here is him on one of these tours with none other than Anton LaVey in the early 60s, maybe mid 60s. And if you look here just over Forrest Ackerman's head, you see that there? It is the same painting that hung in Forrest Ackerman's house that is now here. So you are in this Kevin Bacon 6.66 degrees of separation concept. You were shaking my hand. I shook his hand, who shook his hand, and I gotta hand it to you. It's been a good today's Decay. But wait, we're not even done. Not even close. On this day in 1916, Charles D. Hornig was born. Did you watch my show yesterday? It was pulse pounding, I know. He was the editor of The Fantasy Fan. I talked at great length about Lance Thingmaker's The Fantasy Fan collection. And this is it. So it was ran from September 33 to February 1935, and it came with, Charles Hornig was the editor, who was, I believe, just in high school at the time. Here's him a little bit older, and you know, Forey Ackerman, who we were just talking about with Anton LaVey, really good stuff in here. Forey Ackerman was featured in the letters column. And as he explained it to me, at this point in time, it was a proud and lonely thing to be a fan, which is to say, like a fan of like weird fiction and strange tales. There was nobody to connect with back then. There was no system in place to realize that you aren't alone in the universe in your interests, and The Fantasy Fan was one of, if not the first modes of communication, thanks to Charles D. Hornig. The film The Thin Man premiered on this day, 1934, featuring none other than Bill Powell and Myrna Loy. I love this film. Here is a photoplay Dashiell Hammett 1934 version, with none other than Bill Powell on the cover. That's how my grandfather used to call him, Milton Lockman. I felt like we would talk about movies all the time when I was younger, and I feel like just calling him Bill Powell just means like, he's your buddy. And why not? He's my buddy too. Yeah. Me and Milt. Sir Ian McKellen, born this day, 1939. Big fan. Frank Oz, 1944. Also 1944, none other than Charlie Harper of the UK subs. The film The Body Snatcher, 1945. This is my favorite Val Lewton film, starring Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi in a more supporting role. I think it is, I guess it's my favorite one. Cat People is really up there too, but I think I saw Body Snatcher first and it blew me away, and I got very obsessed with the Val Lewton concept of let's not show the monster. We're gonna have darkness, and the audience, in large part because they didn't have the finances to create special effects at RKO under Val Lewton. He was the producer of a series of films: Cat People, Curse the Cat People, Bedlam, Isle of the Dead, Ghost Ship, I Walk with a Zombie, Body Snatcher. I'm probably missing one. It's getting real hot and heavy over there, ain't it? Yeah. I'm wearing pants. He's panting. No time to waste. What else? On this day in 1946, the cartoon Hair Raising Hair premiered. That's with Bugs Bunny and the giant red furry monster with the tennis shoes, and the Peter Lorre-esque character, where the last line of the film in heaven, the clip of Paul Fennick at the very end of their first album in heaven, that Jesus, I didn't know Leopold could dance. That's from Hair Raising Hair. Yeah. Alan Troutman, born 1955. He was the Tar Man in Return of the Living Dead. Met him many years ago, and I used to never get things autographed, and I realized, hindsight, big mistake. Do it. What else? In the film Alien, premiered this day, 1979. What a great picture. Oh, so there we go. Also with that whole anthropomorphic, Geiger-related humans turning into machines in some form or another, with Boris Artabachev influences, perhaps. So you see, it all comes together. Life has a meaning. Life has a purpose. No, I don't know about that. But today's Decay, we are purposefully done for today until tomorrow. Those are all exciting things you can enjoy should you choose to, or make it what thou wilt. Huh? All right. Till tomorrow. Goodbye.